Welcome to NITI Talk Podcast, and in today's edition, we host somebody from Mongo, who is the Provincial Education and Counseling Coordinator, Mrs. Masangu. Welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
To start with, who is Mrs. Masangu?
Wow, great question. So Mrs. Masangu is a female,
Okay.
aged somewhere in the late 30s, married to a good man. A good man, yes, Mr. Masangu, and we have 3 children between us. 3 children, and yes, of course, I work for Drug Enforcement Commission. Yes.
You're good to go? Okay. Okay. Talking about Drug Enforcement Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So, what role does it play in our communities?
All right. So the Drug Enforcement Commission was instituted somewhere in the 1980s, somewhere around 1989, and when it was instituted, its main goal was to ensure that there is no trafficking of drugs in Zambia, because Zambians did not know about drugs a long time ago, and then at that time there was the Zambia Airways, and during the time of the Zambia Airways, people who travel from other countries come and have a come and maybe have a stopover in Zambia, and later on they'll proceed to other countries. So in the times that they would have a stopover in Zambia, drugs would be dropped in Zambia, and that's how Zambians started knowing about other drugs. Of course, maybe cannabis, which is matokwani or weed, was there, but it was used by old people, and it was used during ceremonies or initiation ceremonies, or traditional ceremonies or initiation ceremonies. So then, now during the time of Zambian Airways, other people from other countries would come and bring the drugs in the country. That's how Zambia became aware of other drugs. So at that time, the government realized to say people started trafficking in drugs and were making money out of illegal drugs. And Zambia, as a country, was losing tax. So they started the Drug Enforcement Commission to ensure that people are not trafficking in drugs. So that was the first mandate of the Drug Enforcement Commission. But later on, they came up with what is known as the Education and Counseling Department. And it's the one that now started going in the communities to sensitize people about drugs, to educate people about drugs. Uh, yes. So the role of the Drug Enforcement Commission in the community is to remove the drugs out of the communities so that people should live in peace, so that people should not be addicted by drugs. That's the role of Drug Enforcement Commission. And how do we do that? We do it through arresting, unfortunately, and also through sensitization. Yes.
Okay. So, talking about the existence of DEC or Drug Enforcement Commission, you've highlighted some of the functions or some of the roles, but still, we still see the rise in the number of cases about substance and drug abuse.
Yes.
So, what measures have you put in place to keep or to put an end to the rise in terms of drug and substance abuse?
All right. So apart from just sensitizing the schools and sensitizing the community, we are also on radio. We also do radio programs, we do television programs. We're doing the podcast right now. This is sensitization that is happening. Not only that, we also do peer education training. So right now, what we are doing is today, the reason why we are in Sesheke, we are conducting a peer education training to train youths so that they should go and talk to their fellow youths about drug abuse. Not only that, we have other stakeholders that we work with. So we are working with the police, we are working with non-governmental organizations, we are working with just institutions that are interested in this issue of drug abuse. Ministry of Health, to ensure that we curb, the rise of drug abuse.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, talking about cases of drug abuse in the communities, there are times where, for instance, myself, I report someone, like this person sells or is in possession of drugs. So there are some talks, or there are times where the Drug Enforcement Commission would come in to pick that person, but then at some point my name would be mentioned to say you were disclosed by this person. How is that?
The drug enforcement officers cannot do that. You know why they cannot do that? They are under oath. All of us are under oath. We have what is known as the what do you call that? We have a law that protects the whistleblower, which is known as the Whistleblowers Act.
Okay.
The Whistleblowers Act states that the officer should not reveal, the whistleblower who brought the information. So how is it that the same person who has been taught and who understands the Whistleblowers Act could go and reveal the name that this is the person who brought the information to us? It's unlawful, okay? And so, how is it that many people are mentioned? The people who mention that the information was taken to Drug Enforcement Commission are the people in the community. The same people who come to report are the ones who mention. How do they do that? When they are drunk, they will say it. You know, what alcohol is able to do. It just makes you unaware of whatever you're doing.
Sure.
So they themselves are the ones who mention that they reported someone. Not only that, also because there was hatred between these two people. Somehow they would want to come and report, and so it could be possible that they talked maybe to the wife, or they talked to a friend to say, "Moza zachiona ukabona zoni kamuyeza yomuntu." And through saying that, this other person could not keep confidentiality. They went and revealed it, that the person who actually reported you is this one. But it always comes back to say it's actually drug enforcement officers, that they are the ones who report. No, we don't do that. We are under oath. We can't do that.
Okay. Talking about the roles, the
Yes.
functions that you've explained about the Drug Enforcement Commission.
Yes.
So mainly it is centered on controlling drugs and getting to put an end to the abuse and the
Yes,
like.
yes.
But recently, I think we've seen again DEC being involved in the fight against corruption. How is the connection between DEC and ACC?
That's very good. So, the Drug Enforcement Commission has got other mandates that the government added after the trafficking and the sensitization, the education. They also added the anti-money laundering units. So, the Anti-Money Laundering Act gives us a mandate to also ensure that people are not misusing public funds. Yes. So the fact that it is public funds, how are public funds misused? They can be misused through corruption. They can be misused through public servant, thefts. They can be misused through different ways. And so the Drug Enforcement Commission comes in because they also have to investigate people that are misusing public funds. So that's how we connect with the Anti-Corruption Commission. We actually work together, we are stakeholders, and we are fighting the same cause.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me take you a little bit out of topic. Talking about corruption, I think we've seen cases where maybe, for instance, I'm the MP,
Yes.
and when that party which I'm representing goes out of power, that's when I'm investigated and I'm arrested. How is that?
I can't comment much about that because I don't think it is the way you are actually thinking. I think the government or maybe Drug Enforcement Commission is not pro party or they don't support any party. We work for the government. We are government workers, so I don't think there is any fight just targeted for politicians who are out of office. So I don't think I can comment much on
Okay.
that.
So talking about DEC,
Mhm.
so in as much as we are fighting drug and substance abuse, so I'm sure maybe at some point we know some of the factors maybe that can lead to the abuse of drugs. What are some of the factors that you as a commission, you know, or you've identified to say these, I think they are the leading causes of high rates of substance and drug abuse?
Mostly is the availability of drugs in the communities.
Okay.
There's so much, there are many drugs that are in the communities, and they are being sold openly, some of them. And I don't know if people realize that, or parents have realized that. Then also, the drugs themselves are cheap. They can be bought at a very minimal fee of 5 kwacha. Who can't afford that? Even a child of 10 years can afford a 5 kwacha. Even, alcohol is sold at a minimal price of 15 kwacha. So those really are the reasons why it's becoming difficult to control the use of these drugs and substances. They are too cheap and they are available. They are everywhere.
Okay.
Yes. Disorders, drug abuse or drug disorders. Usually, we cannot attend to them because what we do is simply drug addiction counseling. So we usually refer them to the psychiatric department so that they are put on medication so that they get back to the way they used to be. After they've gotten back, then they will send them back to us for drug addiction counseling. Yes, that's number one. Number two, we work with home affairs departments such as the police. So the police, they're the ones that they keep the peace of this country. So mostly drug abusers become violent. They're involved in theft, criminality, and all that. So what usually happens is that the police will find some of these young people who are involved in theft and violence. Then they bring them to themselves. Then after interviewing them, they'll discover that they are actually drug abusers. Then they'll bring them to us for counseling. Yes, or maybe if at all they find drugs, we're supposed to arrest them. We also work with you also mentioned Anti-Corruption Commission. We work with them to ensure that money laundering is not enhanced. We also work with NGOs. Of late, we've been working with Comfort. Comfort trains girls. Okay, and so in trying to train the girls, they also talk about drug abuse to ensure that the girls are kept in peace. They are not doing drugs. By the way, girls do a lot of drugs these days. Yeah, that they don't do drugs, and we train the what are called learner guides. So these learner guides are the ones that go to guide the girls in schools, and so we also teach them psychosocial counseling in drug addiction, so that they are able to help them. Yes.
Okay. That's wonderful. So I think thank you very much for the information. So maybe from the question, there is something that you want people to know about DEC that hasn't been asked.
Counseling.
Okay.
I want them to know about counseling. Drug Enforcement Commission offers free drug addiction counseling. If at all there is one in the community, or you have a child who is going through drug abuse and they want to change, or you want them to change, please do not hesitate to bring them to Drug Enforcement Commission. We can never arrest a person who needs help. So they can just come to Drug Enforcement Commission, ask for officers that deal with counseling and education, and they will find us. We will offer them free drug addiction counseling, and we'll give them tools and skills that are going to help them settle and come back to being sober, and ensure that they go and work productively in the society or in the community. So counseling is one thing that you should never underestimate. If you have a child out there who is abusing drugs, please don't give up on them. Seek for counseling. If not at Drug Enforcement Commission, take them to the psychiatric department and they'll be attended to. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sure our viewers, our followers have heard about Drug Enforcement Commission, what they do. And the good news is that they have what we call the counseling department. I think I didn't know about that.
Yes, there's a counseling department.
Oh,
Go to Sesheke here in Sesheke.
Yes.
We have an office. Just go and look for our office and you'll be able to. Actually, our office is near prisons. Just go there and you'll be attended to. In Mongu, we have our offices just near Radsa. In Kaoma, just at the police, you'll find our offices and you can be able to get counseling. Please do not underestimate counseling. It's one way in which one can escape drug abuse.
Okay. There you have it. You've heard it, that you need to find time, at least if you have somebody in the family who seems to be a drug addict and substance abuser. Don't waste time. Don't hesitate. Visit drug enforcement offices. They are everywhere, and they will find and be guided with professional help. So this is the NITI Talk podcast. See you next time.